Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Nuggets News. In today's episode, we're very lucky to have some special guests on from the SingularityNet project who are working to combine artificial intelligence with blockchain technology. So welcome Ben and Mitchell.
Hey there.
So Mitchell was one of the masterminds behind Steemit. He's worked on a lot of projects, and Ben's obviously the chief scientist and mastermind behind this entire project, who's been working in the field of AI for decades. So do you want to introduce yourselves a little bit, guys?
Sure. So I'm an AI researcher first and foremost. I began with a PhD in math in the 1980s and have been doing AI pretty much ever since, both in academia and in industry, applying AI all over the map. And one of the things that occurred to me as I did more and more applied AI projects and worked more and more on artificial general intelligence research is the need to create a better mechanism for connecting together different AI pieces into wholes so that you have a sort of self-organizing system of AI systems. And it began to seem to me like this is really the best way both to get toward general intelligence, to provide superior commercial AI services to businesses, and to make sure that AI benefits everyone on the planet and respects everyone's contributions. And then with this goal, it soon became apparent that blockchain was the right infrastructure to use to implement this sort of decentralized, sort of self-organizing economy of AIs. Toward that end, I teamed up with some blockchain experts, including Simone Giacomelli, who'd been doing a number of blockchain engineering and business development projects in Italy, and then Mitch Lorero, who'd worked on Steemit, Decentraland, and a whole bunch of other things that he can tell you about better than I can.
Yeah.
Sure. So again, hi everybody. My name is Mitch Lorero. Some of you might have seen me around for a few projects. I've worked on things like Ardor, Decentraland, of course, Sentiment. Steemit, of course, was another of the big ones that I did, and advised on a bunch of other projects, everything from MyBit to Byteball. Participated in the development of a lot of early technologies. Now, I do marketing in the space, of course, but my real interest is in social incentive structures. So when I saw something like SingularityNet come along, I was very happy to see, because there have been some really novel mechanisms to solve some really compelling problems with the AI machine learning market today. And blockchain is actually a perfect tool to do that. So, I mean, we have a real chance to produce fundamental and compelling value for people leveraging blockchain with AI in a beautiful and compelling way.
Absolutely. So as you guys touched on already, you're building a platform for a decentralized artificial intelligence economy. We know that artificial intelligence is a fast-growing area in trading. Big data is a commodity these days. Analytics, robotics, all that sort of thing, but there's plenty of limitations, as you said, as this is all very segregated, small projects working in completely separate areas. This is, again, allow for cooperation and coordination of all that sort of technology coming together. So is that the main aim of the project, I guess?
Yeah, the aim of the project is really to bring economic dynamics and cognitive dynamics together, so we can enable anyone who creates an AI to put their AI online, wrap it in our APIs and our smart contracts, and then their AI can cooperate and participate in the SingularityNet, which means that if any customer queries the SingularityNet looking for services, every AI put into the net potentially can respond. And when an AI queries the net for services, it can find other AIs to help it do stuff. And of course, there's a lot of mechanics needed to make this work really well. I mean, there's the blockchain, and there's a token which is to be used for payment for services, and which has a novel economic logic associated with it. Then there's an API of APIs, where two AI nodes start talking to each other, and they must agree on what API to use to carry out their detailed conversation about data and tasks and results. And the consequence is we have a network of AI nodes, which in itself is in a way a meta AI. Because if, say, a document summary AI node and a language disambiguation AI node work together well, then in essence, it's like they're building a link between each other, sort of like Hebbian learning, where you have the synapse between two neurons strengthening. Or on a more abstract level, if a logic reasoning AI and the same neural net AI find that they can complement each other in terms of helping each other solve problems, they can habitually work together, and then they're a federation. So they're combining in a way that the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. So really, this solves three different problems, as I said in the beginning. One is it's part of the way to move from narrow AI toward general intelligence, although it doesn't eliminate the need to solve various hard algorithmic problems also. And it can provide a broader variety of commercial services at a better price to customers needing AI as a service across various vertical markets. And it also has a sort of socio-political aim in the sense that it allows users anywhere in the world to profit from AIs they've created without having to sell themselves to a big company. They just put their AI there, and then their AI can make money for them on the internet if it delivers value, right? And it then allows customers around the world to benefit, even if their needs don't match, what the mega corporations find maximizes their shareholder value. As long as someone put AI into the decentralized network that met a certain need, then the customer would be able to find AI that does what they want.
And I think that's a fantastic way to think about this SingularityNet as a network of the same as the brain creates, that network of synapses, as you said, all these nodes and devices, agents, they're all going to be talking to each other, helping each other learn. And those that contribute to the network, we'll talk about the token itself and the ICO a little bit later on, but there's obviously benefits for those that contribute and help strengthen this network, which is fantastic. So one of the questions that I often get is, is this Skynet? Are the computers going to take over? But I was lucky enough to get hold of a copy of your white paper, and reading through that, it's very clear that you guys want to level the playing field. So this isn't, dominated by big industries. There's going to be a governance system, and the project is very much aiming for that benevolent artificial general intelligence that benefits humanity rather than system of control in the hands of a few, I guess.
Yeah, that's the goal. I mean, we want to create a fundamentally decentralized platform, and this democratic governance mechanism built into the system, which means that periodically, as the system develops, there are rewards given out, and these rewards are given for a few different reasons. So there's curation rewards, which Mitch can talk about in a moment, and there's also rewards to agents which have a good reputation for delivering positive services to everyone. And there's what we call benevolent rewards, which means a certain percentage of the resources of the system go to projects that are judged to be for the common good, which could be, say, powering elder care robots. It could be cybersecurity to protect against bad actors. It could be medical AI to prolong people's lives. So I mean, we don't want to purely do a charity here. We want to do something that makes money and allows contributors to make money by putting their AIs in the network, but as well as enabling profit-making activity by those who create agents and put them in the network. I mean, we also want to promote benevolent use of AI, because I think the best way to ensure that AI develops into something good rather than something destructive. I mean, the best way is to proactively create AI that's used for good things, and that's going to work a lot better than philosophizing and pontificating about what might or might not go wrong. I mean, if AI is helping people, and if AI is learning compassion by helping people, it's more likely that as the AI equals or exceeds human intelligence, it's going to keep this positive ethics in mind.
Yeah, and by doing that, that network effect obviously accelerates innovation and creates those incentives in a way that otherwise isn't possible. So we might touch on the token itself. So that AGI token stands for Artificial General Intelligence. It's being launched on the Ethereum blockchain at the moment, which is, for your intents and purposes at the moment, the best blockchain, but I know there is plans to maybe switch to your own blockchain in the future. I've read about proof of stake and proof of influence, which is similar to a proof of stake model as well. So that's interesting protocol and platform that you're building on. Do you want to talk about that a little bit, Mitchell?
Sure, so I'll go ahead there. So the prototype version will be built on Ethereum. Now it remains to be seen if Ethereum is going to be suitable for the long term. Now the AGI token is a key part of the system. It's needed, one, because we're looking at building a machine-to-machine economy here. This is an AI-to-AI microtransaction economy, so the scalability required is going to have to be significant. Now, if Ethereum can fulfill those needs, we'll be very, very happy, but we find that a little bit unlikely. And a number of things and a number of components of the token and how these transactions are done need to be tailor-made for this economy. And an additional part, and I'm going to touch on it earlier, was mentioned, is the curation market component. And that's not really well understood in the community, and I very much want to bring attention to it and how it's going to work. It's going to show how a lot of people are going to be able to provide value to SingularityNet without needing necessarily to be an AI specialist. Now, a curation market is a very interesting model and incentive structure designed by Simon de la Rouvière from Consensus, a very, very bright gentleman in South Africa. And in the curation market model, what you can do is, the function of the market is to curate information. So by curating the information, you incentivize the rewards, better and better information to come to the top of the rankings to facilitate better and better discovery. However, doing that isn't for free. You have to pay a certain cost to do so. You have to stake your money. You have to put your tokens on the line and say, look, if a certain condition is not met, I may very well lose my tokens. And if that condition is met, then this can turn into a stream of new revenues or a stream of benefits for me further down the line. So the curation market system is central to SingularityNet for market discovery. We allow every single person in the network, every single holder of an AGI token, to participate in helping put the best AIs and services to the fore of the network, further increasing how useful it can be. So with the curation market mechanism, you and I can take our AGI tokens. We'll know that some guy's done really good work. We'll have heard about it. Our AI friends and businesses will have said about it. We'll put our money there. And insofar as that guy continues to find new customers, he ranks higher and higher in the reputation system on the platform. And this creates more and more benefit, more and more economic transactions on the network, which we in turn are incentivized and share a small part from. So everybody wins in this kind of economy. We find that the best services come to the fore. People find what they're looking for. And then you and I are incentivized to use our tokens in a meaningful way that contributes to the network and not just hold on them and produce no fundamental value. We stake them. We make them useful.
Okay, so I guess, Ben, what do you think the most interesting and maybe beneficial use cases of all this technology is going to be once it's up and running?
Well, I mean, to me, that's sort of like asking in 1980 what are integrated circuits in computers going to be used for. And I mean, the answer was essentially every industry. They're in your pacemaker, they're in the supercomputer in your pocket, and I mean, it's sort of endless. I think in the very beginning, we're going to put some of our own AI nodes in the SingularityNet just to seed things, to get things started. And for that, of course, we have to make some choices. So we'll put some AI nodes using our OpenCog AI platform in there. And these, in a way, may serve as hub nodes in a sense, because the OpenCog knowledge representation, called the atom space, is able to represent any type of knowledge that any AI might use. So we'll put some very general purpose AI nodes in there, which may be used as a reference by other AI nodes that get plugged in the network. We're also going to put some AI nodes specifically useful for controlling robots, because we have them. I've been doing that with Henson Robotics, and Henson Robotics is one of our founding partners. This Sofia robot, who has been our chief humanoid, helping us to market and promote the SingularityNet. Sofia robot will be an initial test case and showcase for the AI tools that we're building. We also have been doing a lot in my own personal AI consulting work in biomedical applications, using AI to analyze genomics data, proteomic data, clinical medicine data. So because of the contacts my team and I have in that space, and some of the open source AI code we've already developed, it will be straightforward for us to wrap some biomedical AI in nodes to put in the SingularityNet. And finally, cybersecurity is an area that both Simone's team in Italy and some folks in our development team in Ethiopia, they have a lot of experience in cybersecurity, including some machine learning applied to cybersecurity. And this is something that we will need ourselves, obviously, because security is always an issue for this sort of decentralized platform. So robotics, biomedical analytics, and cybersecurity will be things that we will specifically address in terms of nodes that will throw out there into the SingularityNet, but that doesn't imply those will be the main focus even at the end of year one, because this is an open platform and we want people doing any type of AI applied to any vertical market and using any algorithm and addressed at customers in any geographic area. I mean, more than anyone to be able to use it. And I'll be really happy if a couple of years from now, the nodes that my team has created are a tiny minority of the traffic happening in the SingularityNet.
Cool. I'm just going to bring up on the screen now for the viewers a picture here of you talking to Sofia. So I believe she's the world's most expensive robot. Is that right?
She's the world's most expressive robot. I don't think she's the world's most expensive robot. Actually, she's priceless. So maybe we can say that.
Does she travel first class or with plenty of bubble wrap?
Part of her travels in a carry-on bag and part of her travels in cargo. So we disassemble her for the flight. And after traveling so much on this promotional tour, I'm really jealous of her. It would be cool to be deactivated and just woken up again refreshed at the end of the flight.
So you touched on OpenCog, and that's just an open source software project you've been working on for years. Hanson Robotics, who builds these humanoid robots such as Sofia. But as you mentioned, you're on tour in Australia. You've partnered with Digital X. They're helping a lot of companies like yourself launch their projects in ICO. So how's that all going, the tour around Australia? And are you already going around the world afterwards, or?
Yeah, this is one stop on the extensive tour that we're doing. We were in Moscow before this, and I'll be in Las Vegas and California right afterwards. And I mean, we're finding a great amount of interest in what we're doing everywhere, which is, I mean, it's not surprising because both AI and blockchain are really in times of very rapid growth. And I think we're bringing those together in a very compelling way that will actually work and yield like an exponentially growing business that can have a big influence. So I think it's a rare time in my career when stuff that I think is really important and really want to do happens to match with what the world is interested in. So it's been good fun.
You've been very patient waiting for this day, I'm sure. So you've got a working alpha hoping to be released as soon as next month, is that correct? And then a beta by July next year?
We will release a small test net next month, which works but is not tremendously scalable and has a few example AI agents in it that come out of our own AI work. And then middle of next year, we will launch a fuller SingularityNet that will be more scalable and commercially usable for various purposes. But I think we've got the architecture down, and the testnet that we will launch shortly demonstrates the correct architecture that we think is what we need. With the sort of blockchain protocol layer, the token layer, the API token, the API of APIs for AIs to talk to each other, and the market that comes out of that. So that's all there in our test network. And this is it's been a result of some fairly intense collaborations and mutual learning between my own AI team, which has several dozen people spanning many continents, and then Simone's blockchain development teams and a host of different blockchain projects over the years.
Okay, so we might just touch on the ICO. I believe you're finalising details for that. Do you want to talk about the structure? I think there's 100 million tokens total supply, 50 million for the ICO. Is that right, Mitchell?
Well, sure. Let's first. I mean, we don't use the word ICO to describe anything. We don't think that necessarily reflects the accurate nature of the situation. There will be a token launch at a certain time, and we're still finalizing the event details with regards to these specific numbers. But in terms of the proportions, they've already been set. Our singular goal with the design of the incentive structure and the token system has been to create a product that is as useful as possible for end users, and will bring this vision to life, and to bring a new model for AI value capture and AI value creation to market, and the token is instrumental to that. So a large portion, I believe roughly 50% of all potentially existing tokens will be offered at the launch to parties that are not native to the foundation, and more on the specifics of the remainder that will be released at a later date.
Yeah, so I mean, we're working with our legal team to formulate the specifics of the token sale that we are thinking to launch. So I mean, nothing about our possible token sale is in any way definitive till we go through some more of the legal process. But I mean, we're really excited about launching this platform and getting it out to as many users as possible. And if all goes well with the legal process, you'll be hearing more in this direction before too long.
Right. So just to be absolutely clear about that, for SingularityNet will be a public network, and having access to the public. I mean, everything has got to be open for something like this to really have a competitive advantage and create that kind of value that we're looking for. But at the same time, we are talking with the regulators of the SEC and FINMA and other parties to make sure that everything is done appropriately to support the vision in many years to come, because it's not a flash in the pan. This is a 5-year, 10-year project at a minimum. Right?
Absolutely. So I guess for you guys now, it's all about partnerships and networking and that community engagement, which you're going around the world doing. There's going to be billions of dollars flowing to this space in the coming years, I'm sure. So you must be excited about that. But is there anything else you wanted to, before we wrap up the interview?
I would do a call to the community for those of you guys who are interested in seeing what can be done with blockchain in the real world and getting some applications out there soon. And we understand what can be done with AI here, and we really want to give the community in the machine learning, those developers, access to a new way to monetize their services and create value for people, kind of like a long tail, a dramatically wider market for their services. And we believe blockchain is a way to do that. And if you think that this is an interesting vision, if you think that blockchain can provide value to this whole new economy that's being created, we encourage you to join us in our Telegram. Check us out at SingularityNet.io and come say hello, because there's a lot of work that can be done. It's going to be a communal effort, and I really hope that you'll decide to be a part of it.
Yeah, I think that there's a deep point here, which is that the technological singularity, as described by Ray Kurzweil, Werner Vinge, and various other futurist thinkers. I mean, this, in a historical sense, it may be close to inevitable that AIs are going to become smarter than humans, and we're going to be enmeshed in some greater sort of mind and global brain. But even if it's inevitable in a historical sense, I mean, in an individual life sense, this sort of thing comes out of the individual efforts of each of us, right? So what each one of us does is what will cause a positive singularity to come about. And if we want to make it more probable that the technological singularity that gave SingularityNet its name is good for humans and other sentient beings, I mean, to make a good outcome more probable, that takes us working together. And it's not just me and Mitch and our colleagues, but anyone out there can do something to contribute, whether it's coding AI, directing their employer to use a decentralized, beneficial or oriented AI instead of a corporate AI, or just writing, blogging, spreading the word about what we're doing. So we can use everyone's contribution to move this forward. And this is a particular project, but we think it potentially can be a large part of the overall path toward a positive technological singularity.
Absolutely. I think anyone that reads about this project or checks out your website will agree that this is absolutely fascinating stuff. The marriage of AI and blockchain is a perfect use case for this technology, and I wish you guys all the best in the future with your project. So thanks for coming on.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.